There's something magical about stepping into a 1950s living room. The hum of a black and white TV, the scent of fresh coffee mingling with cigarette smoke, and the soft chatter of a radio playing in the background. It was a time when families gathered every evening on plaid couches, under soft lamplight just to be together. These cozy spaces told the story of post-war hope, style, and everyday comfort. Today, we're retaking a sentimental stroll back in time to uncover 10 things every 1950s living room had, but are rare today. Get comfy, this one's going to feel like flipping through Grandma's photo album. 1. Built-in ashtrays. Back then, smoking was practically a pastime. Most living rooms had built-in ashtrays on coffee tables, in armrests, even attached to walls. They were part of the furniture, like cup holders today. Smoking was seen as sophisticated, and guests were often offered a cigarette the moment they walked in. These ashtrays quietly disappeared as health warnings became louder in the 1960s and 70s, and smoking lost its shine. 2. Console television sets. Before flat screens and remotes, TV was a full piece of furniture. Console TVs were large wooden boxes with rounded screens and glowing dials. Families would gather around for shows like I Love Lucy or The Ed Sullivan Show, adjusting the rabbit ears just right. They weren't just entertainment, they were a symbol of modern progress. Today, they vanished from our homes, but they live on in old sitcoms and thrift stores. 3. Doilies on everything. If it had a flat surface, it probably had a doily. These lace-like cloths, often handmade or passed down, covered coffee tables, armrests, and the backs of chairs. They were a touch of elegance, a nod to tradition, and a way to protect the furniture from wear. You could say they made everything feel just a little bit dressed up. Doilies faded out as styles turned sleeker and less fussy in the decades that followed. 4. Knotty pine paneling. The warm glow of knotty pine gave 1950s living rooms that cozy, cabin-like feel. With its golden tones and visible knots, it made walls feel more like home and less like drywall. It was affordable, easy to install, and felt comforting in a post-war world craving stability. By the 1970s, though, darker wood paneling took over, and knotty pine was slowly sanded away into memory. 5. Starburst clocks. Tick-tock with a twist. These wall clocks, shaped like exploding suns or atomic bursts, were a hallmark of mid-century modern design. They blended science fiction dreams with everyday function. Often metallic, with brass or chrome finishes, they added sparkle to any wall. But as the space-age aesthetic faded, so did these dazzling timepieces, now mostly spotted in vintage shops or stylish retro diners. 6. Plaid sofas and slipcovers. Patterns were big, and plaid was even bigger. Sofas in bold checks and tartan tones filled living rooms, often protected by clear plastic slipcovers to keep them spotless. Sitting down felt like visiting a neighbor you knew you'd be there a while. These heavy, patterned couches slowly gave way to simpler, neutral styles in the 80s and beyond. Still, that crinkly sound of plastic covers, unforgettable. 7. Ceramic TV lamps. These weren't just lights, they were conversation starters. Ceramic TV lamps sat atop television sets, casting a soft glow to reduce eye strain and add ambience. Shaped like panthers, horses, or exotic birds, they were quirky, colorful, and so 1950s. As lighting improved and tastes changed, these little art pieces flickered out of fashion. 8. Picture windows with sheer curtains. Big, beautiful windows that let the outside in. Picture windows were a staple in many 1950s homes, often dressed in sheer white curtains that billowed gently with the breeze. They symbolized openness both in design and in spirit. Families watched the world go by, neighbors waved, and kids pressed their noses to the glass during snowstorms. Over time, heavy drapes and blinds replaced this airy charm. 9. Floral wallpaper. From pastel roses to bold peonies, floral wallpaper bloomed in nearly every living room. It wasn't just decoration, it was mood. After the war, bright patterns felt cheerful and hopeful. Some homes even had matching curtains and upholstery to complete the look. As minimalism took root in later decades, florals were stripped away in favor of solid colors and bare walls. 10. The record console. Music was more than earbuds and playlists, it was an experience. Record consoles were long, low cabinets that combined radio and record players, often with built-in speakers. Dad might put on Sinatra, or teens might sneak Elvis when no one was looking. These consoles were the heart of many living rooms until cassette tapes and boomboxes took over. Today, they're collectors' treasures and reminders of how we once listened together. Outrow, the 1950s living room, was more than just a space, it was a feeling. Warm, welcoming, and filled with little touches that told big stories. While many of these things have disappeared, their charm still lingers in memories, movies, and maybe even your grandma's house. What do you remember from back then? Did your family have one of these? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and step back in time with us again, here on American Rewind. See you next Sunday, where the past comes back to life.